Aerotropolis Atlanta Alliance Podcast. I am Shannon James, your president and CEO, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for another great podcast, which promises to definitely not disappoint today. I will tell you, I have a really good friend who is in the building, none other than the great Odie Donald II. Odie, welcome.
How you doing? Hey, listen, gotta say the second. They three of us now, you know, big time father and a soon to be big time son. So I just want people to remember me. So we make sure we add the second in there.
That's right. You know, I remember that too. I heard that second. I say, okay, it's another one out there.
Absolutely.
Always. Well, Odie, man, thank you for joining us, man. You know, we are extremely excited not only to have the City of South Fulton now in fruition. I think it's been just over a year now, right?
Yeah, we're almost coming up on our year and a half mark. May 1st of 2017 was when the city was officially incorporated.
Woo, year and a half. So, Odie, before we jump into the city, let our listeners know more about you, Odie Donald, about, you know, maybe your background, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm a Southwest Atlanta, South Fulton product.
Okay.
Grew up here, lived in Harris Homes, Bowen Homes, Dixie Hills, as well as, you know, other parts of Southwest Atlanta, Cascade, Buckhead, Midtown. I've been kind of everywhere. I was a product of Douglas High, the mighty Douglas High, the best high school in the region, maybe in the world. Left there and went and played some ball at UT Chattanooga and Georgia State, where I ended up graduating, and I have been blessed to kind of work in public service almost my entire life. I was served as a program manager and I guess an associate director at the time at Fulton County government. Left there and served as, I guess, the youngest project director at the Technical College System of Georgia in their history at the time. Nice. I'm sure somebody that's probably changed by now. I'm quite a bit older.
But, ain't that old, bro? Not
left
that old.
Well, you know, we're getting the middle age, but
right.
The Honorable Mayor Muriel Bowser, one of the best bosses I've ever worked for, and I think, you know, probably our nation's greatest mayor, asked me to come and lead her workforce system, and so I did that, and I think we went from being the worst. I tell the story that there are only 50 states, but we were ranked number 56, you know, in workforce development, and by the time I left, we were actually the number one workforce and economic development system in the country, and in the hunt for Amazon, and hopefully now that I've returned to Georgia, you know, maybe we can shift that.
There you go.
And help get Amazon to come this way. But now I have probably the greatest pleasure that, you know, I could ever imagine in serving in my hometown as the city manager for the new City of South Fulton, standing up what I think will be, you know, the South's greatest city.
That's amazing. Welcome home, bro. Welcome home.
Super excited to be here.
You should be, man. I mean, listening to your background, I mean, what better than to have an actual local product, right? To come back home and also now be a vision of leadership and guidance for the future of a new city, the largest city. Now we can say that the City of South Fulton are now members of the Aerotropolis Atlanta Alliance. So I want to thank you personally, Odie, our board, our executives, our leadership. We're extremely excited to have the City of South Fulton on board because what that speaks to now is the true partnership and collaboration as a region, right? Now, not as an area, but as a region. And to have a juggernaut like the City of South Fulton, that is the largest city in the area, now be a part of what we're all considering a collective vision to make us more regionally, economically competitive is exciting, man. So I want to thank you, my friend.
No, I'll tell you, so for us, it was a very simple decision, and I'm not, you know, sure what the delay was, or maybe, you know, we were the last city to, you know, incorporate, and so the last city to join the great Aerotropolis family. But I think for us, it just represents, you know, the true vision of South Fulton, and the purpose of South Fulton is really self-determination.
That's right.
And so as we focus on that, I don't think there's a better partner for us than Aerotropolis Atlanta.
Excellent.
We are extremely close to the airport, fifth largest city in the state, third largest in the metro, and really, probably the city with the most potential. We have the most undeveloped land within a single municipality in the state. I mean, that's a big deal. That means the decisions that we make really help guide not only the future of the region, but really our state. And
Absolutely.
So that's a big responsibility. And so we're glad to have you guys as partners in this work.
Well, we're fortunate, and I think you spoke to all of the dynamics that we all saw, and obviously the great leaders of the City of South Fulton saw as well. So as our powers combine.
Absolutely.
Right? Voltron.
Superheroes, Avengers. Yeah,
that's right. That's
Economic development Avengers.
That's right. Team sport, baby. So what I love to do, Odie, I know everyone, at least those who may not be familiar with you, can you speak to more your role and responsibilities as city manager for the new great City of South Fulton?
Absolutely. So, the City of South Fulton is unique in many ways because many large cities have a strong mayor form of government. Right. We've actually, in the wisdom of the South Fulton delegation and those state legislators, we actually have a council manager form of government, which is similar to what you see in the South Fulton region. And so as such, our council makes policy, sets the vision, and the overall structure and guidance for the city. And as the manager, I am responsible for, one, carrying out their vision, and then at the same time answering to our citizens and incorporating service level, whether it be service level agreements or service level metrics, to ensure that not only is the overall vision and structure in place, but also we are performing at the level that both our electeds and our residents expect. And so I manage everything from public safety, which would include police, fire, and our municipal court system, to economic development, to quality of life, which would include our park systems, which is, I believe, the second largest in the state, with over 17 different facilities or parks, which is a big deal that people don't always take into account. We also have, those other quality of life activities like code enforcement, where we're ensuring that the rules and regulations of the city are adhered to. So we have I have a very broad swath, which would also include, kind of managing the expectations of our politicals. I think we have some of the most dynamic and innovative council people in the state, but I would also say they're very new. Right. And so I have to help equip them and ensure they have the resources necessary to grow, learn, and govern appropriately, while also managing, some of their specific concerns, not just for the city, but for their individual districts that have been ignored for so long without cityhood. Man,
that is it. A lot of responsibility, brother.
It's a lot. It's fun times, though, man. It's fun times.
I know it is. Never a dull moment for sure. And but you spoke to something that I think our listeners all understand, because you mentioned earlier, a year and a half you guys are coming up on, and with the new elected officials, they've been serving under that capacity for a year and a half.
Absolutely.
So, and this is their first, right? So, like any of us, when you're starting something new, there's a growing understanding of your roles and responsibilities, the risk and mitigates, and now I'm watching our council mature, and just listening to them in conversation about their vision for the area, and so it's always encouraging to hear. So I think you got a great band of leaders, and no question they've done right by bringing you on. So they're moving in the right. They're making the right decisions. So what I love to do is we're talking about new. The city also just brought on some new hires, right? Because I'm excited about the chief. I'm excited about your ED. So can you elaborate to our listeners some of those new key hires you guys just brought on?
Absolutely. So I'm beyond excited about the team that we're putting together. So since I have been on board, and so first let me say I think I've inherited a pretty dynamic team. I think many times I've been the new guy in many places around the country, really. And just to be honest, sometimes you don't always get the best talent that you inherit. But I tell you, this has probably been one of the best teams that I've been able to inherit. And I think it's because we had some local resources, and Georgia and Atlanta specifically produces quality talent.
Absolutely.
But we have also brought in some nationally renowned folks as well. So really excited to have the assistant city manager, Miss Melanie Winfield. She is a former assistant city attorney. She served as the COO for the city of Memphis. She's their assistant city attorney. She also served as a deputy director of workforce and economic development in the District of Columbia.
Wow.
In addition to that, we brought on who I think is a rising star, Mr. Christopher Pike.
Oh yeah, man.
For economic development. So people hear Villa Rica, and I think people who are not in the government space don't really realize that Villa Rica is the fastest growing city in our state, which makes them one of the fastest growing cities in the region.
Exactly.
In a 6-state area. So that's a big deal.
Big deal, man.
And he is almost single-handedly. Now I have some quality electeds down there as well, but he's almost single-handedly responsible for developing a downtown, creating the Main Street program, also, expanding and bringing innovative financing options like TADs and, tax abatements and things that have really helped to grow their economy, almost tripling it during his tenure.
Wow.
And so that's extremely impressive. And so just those two rock stars, I could stop, but we also got Jolene Butts Freeman, who was, we stole her away from the city of Kennesaw, but her roots are actually with Fulton County. She served there, for about a decade or so. Nice. And so she knows the area. She's a resident. All these people have become residents of the city of South Fulton, which is also another impressive piece to really invest in where you live and work. And so, while we've had some other hires, those are our director level hires, but I'm also really excited about our new police chief, Mr. Chief Meadows. Man.
Chief Meadows.
It's a big deal there. And so
Yes,
I think he is one of the unifying hires, I would call him. We did a national search. We had quite a few different people show interest, including existing chiefs, some from, my old stomping ground in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area.
Wow.
We also had some interest from folks in Texas, quite a bit of interest here in Georgia, as well as Alabama and North Carolina.
Wow.
But we actually found the best person right here in our backyard. I think that now Major Sheila Rogers did a yeoman's job in transitioning the police force into the city and standing up our first police force. I think she did an excellent job, and we are thankful to have her as a part of our organization. And it just goes without question to say that with her at the helm, we already had some quality policing. But to bring over what would probably be the next regional superstar to help really transition our police force into 21st century policing, data-driven policing, community service. This guy, now I go to every meeting I'm invited to and a few that I'm not, and I haven't been to a community meeting since even before he started, since it was announced that he hasn't been to. And so that covers everything from economic development to small HOA meetings to the future of parks and recs. I mean, he's a part of all of it because he understands that if you're not safe, then you cannot grow. And people won't invest in not only, they can't only feel safe, they have to be safe.
They have to be safe. That's right.
He has to understand a little bit about everything. So I'm very encouraged by him, excited to be here and partner with him in this endeavor of ensuring that we're safe and just seeing what's next for the city. So I think with this talented group, listen, Shannon, they may outlive all of us in their roles and expand more. And I think stabilizing the city is the thing that I'm most focused on, is making sure that we put our flag in the ground, we transition these services, and we are set, for the course of not only the next few years, but forevermore. And I tell you, with these hires, I am certain that we're there.
Man, that's an all-star cast. I mean, seriously, I've been fortunate to spend a lot of time with Chris Pike.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't recognize our great mayor, Bill Edwards, who is no question.
Listen, that's the flagship.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
That's right. All roads lead to Bill. And we're fortunate, I think, as a region to have someone of his caliber, his leadership, his vision and experience to help collectively move forward. And so then you've got Chief Meadows, who, man, I mean, come on, just say Chief Meadows and you're like, okay, where's Chief? So we're good.
I'll tell you, I think it all lines up perfectly. I mean, so oftentimes I talk about the administrative side because I'm not an elected, never want to be, never have any goals to be. I think they have a much harder job than any of us have.
Yeah, man.
But I think their roles are really important.
Extremely.
And so when you talk about Mayor Bill Edwards, I unabashedly say that I believe that Mayor Mura Bowser might be the greatest, municipal leader in our country. but I would be remiss not to mention the impact that Mayor Bill Edwards has had, not only on the city of South Fulton and the South Fulton region, but really just the metropolitan Atlanta area when it comes to everything from public safety initiatives to Fulton Industrial is the Fulton Industrial it is today because of the work that he did as a commissioner.
That's right.
And while all of those things are really cool and great, and we love to rest on his laurels and point to those things, I think the work that he is doing today in collectively bringing our council along and bringing them forward, I think not only does everybody have their own fiefdom and their own little kingdom in their districts, and those things are important, but really managing our team to move forward for the collective good of the city of South Fulton. When you have 8, really energetic and innovative, thoughtful people who have their own ideas, to mesh those together into one city, I'm not certain that I would be able to do the work that I'm doing without his leadership. So I'm not only excited for him and honored to work with and for him, our council members, I could call out something different from Ms. Gum's focus on, and partnership with Dr. Rowell, their focus on really adding innovation and smart cities and transparency to police, fire, and parks. When you look at Councilmember Willis, and then the focus of economic development that is shared by all, but really kind of harped on by what I would call the old national trio of Ms. Jackson, Councilmember Khalid, and Mr. Baker. I think we could just go on and on. Even Ms. Gilliard, who really focuses on environmental justice and ensuring that as we grow, we're responsible. I mean, that as you see all of those different pots, they all go to one thing. It's all economic development. And man, we've got the correct crew for South Fulton, and so I'm excited for them and to help them reach their goals.
Man, I love every person you've named. I have personally, if not touched, I had a conversation with, and you are spot on about their thought process and their vision and their commitment to the area, to the city of South Fulton. And so we really have some true ambassadors. And so I'm excited for you, my friend.
Yeah.
And Odie, I've had the good fortune to hear a lot of the vision for the city of South Fulton. And so I may know more than most. What I'd love for you to do is maybe elaborate on some of the items or visions of the city that maybe some of our listeners need to hear. And one in particular that I would love for them to hear about is the incubator. And that's just one of many. But help our listeners kind of hear the vision of the city of South Fulton, because they can hear all the leadership. I think we've got the right tools in place. We've got obviously buy-in and interest in the aura of Mayor Bill Edwards, the chief and the team. So kind of help us understand what that vision looks like.
So I think the first thing is our goal is not only to be the 5th largest city in our state, but really to be just a world-class city and a world-class destination for people.
Absolutely.
And to do that, we have to have everything from quality public safety, strong economic development, and the business and industry support. We also have to have defined land uses that really support our growth. And so I think the vision for the city of South Fulton is just that, is, an extraordinary environment where people can live, work, and play, and, truly be able to do that, where our firefighters live in our city and are that much more invested in, protecting the assets for which they're called, out to an emergency. And so that the police know the children that, are growing up in those communities, so that when they face challenges, they can help them without, blemishes on the record. I mean, all of those things are very important to us. And so to do so, we put a few different things in place. I think for economic development, I think just since I've been here, we've more than doubled the amount of businesses that are registered in the cities. I'm excited about that.
That's big, man.
We've gone from under 1,000 to right now hovering at about 1,800. And so, very big deal. But as we look at that, small business is the key. And small business is driving that. And so
the lifeblood.
Focused on small business, we have started and funded through the FY19 budget, a business incubator. As you know, signage has been a problem in some of our shopping centers. And sometimes the beautification and improvements that are required, there's not always funding for. And so for us as a city, we're trying to make sure that businesses know we're invested in their future because they're investing in us. And so the incubator provides us to really double down on that and provide that support. I think the second part of that when we start looking at our investments, we have also provided some key resources and alignment within the way we deliver services. So we're launching a 311 platform on October 1st.
Nice.
And so this platform is a very big deal because it gives us that one-stop feel that we had in workforce development, where people can come to one place and not only, file their complaints, but really also get responses and help us collaboratively find solutions to issues. Real quickly, the Home Builders Association is a great example. They identified that it was taking them 120 days to get a permit, and in the home building industry, that's not acceptable, and it costs people a lot of money.
It's a challenge.
Well, they brought the challenge to us. We actually received that challenge. We worked collaboratively to find out how to get that number down under 30 days for a permit, which is about the average when you look at large cities. And so not only did we do that within 60 days and only 3 meetings, we're actually about to move it under 15 days.
What?
And that will be our standard. And so while we would love to take all the credit for it, we've just been a responsive government.
Right.
And our partners at the Home Builders Association not only brought us a problem, they brought us the solution.
Amazing.
And that's the kind of government that we're developing and that we're producing. I think another thing I'm really excited about is our strategic planning process. And when it comes to everything from our overall vision for the city, which our council has now decided on 5 big buckets that are the most important and for which we will all be measured by. They've also looked at this 2035 comprehensive plan, and they're looking at land use, and they are ensuring that the type of zoning that is taking place within our community really fits the future of South Fulton.
Absolutely.
And so while it's been a challenge for years, and I know people are
excited about that.
hungering for that, that's a big deal.
That's a major
We're the
deal.
last city. We're the biggest piece. And so as such, we are focused on making sure as we move forward, man, this city has the ability to grow and develop like none other. So those are a few things that we have in the can, but many, many more. I mean, we could touch on a variety of things, from introducing body cameras body worn cameras as a part of the police initiative. We're piloting that now.
Awesome.
I think that there's so many different things that go from public safety to even adding STEM programs in the parks. That's a big deal. So
it's a major deal.
The city of South Fulton is we're on its way, and we're here and we're open for business.
I want to definitely give hats off to you, mayor, council, the new team that has been assembled.
Yes, sir.
We're excited about all the vision and all the work you guys are doing. We're watching you, following you guys on social media. I'll tell you, I haven't seen a city or leadership as engaged in the community that I've seen displayed by the city of South Fulton. And it makes me feel good. I'm serious, man. I'm excited. And so for our listeners out there, there are some serious items on the agenda come November. So as you heard from our great leader, Odie Donald, please pay attention. So he has given you words of wisdom, and we hope that you now take it to the ballot box, right? Yeah. So again, Odie, want to thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you on our podcast round 2, because obviously there's a lot of things that we can continue to talk about. I don't think the people know our energy, so we could probably have our own podcast.
Let's do it.
But we're just glad to have you here, my friend, and we're looking forward to everything that not only you but our great leaders in the city of South Fulton have in store.
Absolutely. Honored to be here, and I appreciate you having me today.
No doubt. My pleasure. Our listeners, thank you guys for joining us. Another great round of information. Thank you for joining the Aerotropolis Atlanta Podcast, and we want to help you land here and take off. Thank you.